Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really powerful way of thinking about innovation. It's called design thinking, and it's all about how we can come up with better solutions, not just for products, but for some of the world's biggest challenges. And really, it all starts with taking a hard look at the world we're in right now.
This quote just hits so hard, doesn't it? It feels like the problems we're up against are getting bigger and more tangled every day, and our old toolkits just aren't cutting it anymore. We need fresh ideas, new ways of looking at things. But the big question is, where do those new ideas even come from?
Well, for a long time, there have basically been two camps when it comes to innovation. First, you've got the tech-centric view. This is where an engineer has a breakthrough, a new material, a new algorithm, and then the company tries to figure out, okay, who can we sell this to? Then there's the other side, the human-centered view, which starts by asking, what do people actually need? What are their frustrations? And this sets up a classic tug-of-war. Do you start with the technology, or do you start with the person?
And this is exactly where design thinking comes in. It's not about picking one side over the other. It offers this third way, an approach that brings together that hard, analytical thinking with a more intuitive, empathetic understanding of people. It's all about finding that magic spot where what people truly want intersects with what's technically possible and what makes sense for a business.
Okay, so to make this less abstract, let's look at a fantastic real-world story. It's about the bicycle company Shimano, and it's the perfect example of what happens when you shift your focus from the cold, hard mechanics of gears to the much messier and more interesting world of human feelings. So Shimano was hitting a wall. Their high-end bikes were amazing feats of engineering, but they pretty much sold them to every serious cyclist out there. The market was flat. So a design team decided to ask a totally different question. What about all the people who aren't buying our bikes? And they found this incredible statistic. Almost every single American adult has a happy memory of riding a bike as a kid. And yet, a whopping 90% of them don't own one now. Why? That single question blew the doors open to a huge, completely overlooked market.
So the team actually went out and started talking to these people, and what they heard had absolutely nothing to do with gear ratios or frame materials. People felt intimidated by the high-tech bike shops. They saw the bikes as way too complex and expensive. They were afraid of getting a flat tire or having to do maintenance. The barriers weren't about product specs, they were about feelings. They were feelings of anxiety and feeling like they didn't belong in that serious cyclist club.
And that meant the real breakthrough couldn't just be a better bike. It had to be a completely different experience. So the team came up with this idea called coasting. It was a whole new category of bikes. Simple, super comfortable, basically maintenance-free. They were designed for one thing and one thing only, to bring back that simple, carefree feeling of just riding a bike.
And this new experience was captured so perfectly in their marketing. Just listen to these words. This tagline tells you everything. It completely reframes biking away from speed, competition, and sport, and puts it squarely in the world of just having fun, exploring, and taking it easy. They didn't just design a product, they designed the entire feeling around it.
So that whole process behind the Shimano story, that has a name. It's design thinking. And here's the formal definition. It's an approach that balances three key things. First, what do people actually want? What's desirable? Second, what can we actually build? What's technologically feasible? And third, can we make it last? Is it economically viable? Real breakthrough innovation lives right there at the intersection of all three. Now, it's really important to get this. This is not some rigid, step-by-step formula where you just check off boxes. Think of it more as a system of overlapping spaces. Projects don't move neatly from A to B to C. Teams are constantly looping back, gaining a new insight that sends them back to the drawing board, refining their ideas as they learn more. It's a bit messy, and that's actually a good thing.
Let's just quickly walk through these spaces. Inspiration is that initial problem or opportunity, like Shimano realizing 90% of adults don't bike. Ideation is the messy, creative process of coming up with potential solutions, like the coasting concept. And finally, implementation is the nitty-gritty work of actually bringing that idea to life and out into the world. And a huge part of this whole cycle, especially ideation, is a tool that's absolutely fundamental: prototype.
One of the most powerful things in a design thinker's toolbox is prototyping, But it might not be what you think. It's not just about building a fancy model of your final product. It's about something much more fundamental. It's about building in order to think. The author tells this great little story about being a kid during a blackout. He didn't sit down and write a plan for a flashlight or draw a schematic. He just grabbed all his Legos and built one. And that's his first prototype. It just shows you how natural and intuitive this is. We build things to give our ideas shape, to see them in the world. But prototyping isn't just about quick, playful experiments. You've got the legendary designer Charles Eames, who, when someone asked if his famous chair came to him in a flash of inspiration, gave this amazing answer. A 30-year flash. He spent decades making prototypes, refining the design over and over. So you see, a prototype can be a quick sketch on a napkin, or it can be a lifelong commitment to getting something right. This is a core mantra of design thinking, and it flips a lot of traditional business logic on its head. In most places, failure is the worst possible outcome. But here, you actively seek out failure early on. By building quick and dirty prototypes, you're trying to find the flaws in your idea as fast and as cheaply as you can. It's about getting the bad ideas out of the way so you can get to the good ones faster. So the whole point of an early prototype isn't to be perfect or even to be finished. Its only job is to help you learn something. You create something, anything, that's tangible, even if it's just made of cardboard and duct tape, so you can put it in front of someone and see how they react. It helps you find out what's working, and more importantly, what isn't. And listen, this is not just for industrial designers making widgets. Professionals in every single field can do this. They can think with their hands. You can have bankers role-playing a new customer service process. Hospital staff can use chairs and signs to mock up a new admissions flow. And yes, that means you too. Anyone can prototype an idea.
Okay, so this brings us to a much bigger and I think more exciting idea. Design thinking isn't just for making cooler phones or more profitable services. It's a powerful methodology that we can apply to the most complex, tangled, systemic challenges that we face as a society. Just think about some of these issues: childhood obesity, public housing, how to prevent crime, even making airport security better. I mean, these are huge, messy problems with no easy answers. But design thinking is being applied to all of them, which just goes to show how flexible and powerful this approach can be.
A truly world-changing example of this is the Aravind Eye Hospital in India. They were facing an almost impossible problem. How do you provide cataract surgery to millions of poor rural villagers? They couldn't use the Western model, so they redesigned the entire system from the ground up. Instead of pricey imported lenses, they figured out how to make their own for just a few dollars. They developed a hyper-efficient surgical process, almost like an assembly line for healing. And they created an experience that was culturally appropriate and dignified, allowing them to restore sight to millions of people. It's just incredible. This quote from the founder, Dr. V, just says it all. It captures the sheer scale of the ambition. He looked at McDonald's not as a fast food joint, but as a brilliantly designed system for delivering a consistent product at a massive scale, and he asked, why can't we do that for healthcare? It's a stunning vision, and it was only possible because they started with the real needs of the people they wanted to serve. So we've seen how design thinking can change everything from a simple bicycle to a massive healthcare system, all by putting people at the very center of the process. And that leaves us with one last question, a pretty provocative one. This isn't just a tool for big companies. It's a way of looking at the world. So how might you take these ideas, empathy, ideation, prototyping, and use them to design a better life for yourself? Thanks for joining The Explainer.